What's going on, guys? Today we have a bit of a different video for you. We're going to kind of just break down kind of some key points here on the whiteboard, and I really want to hit home today why kind of today's society is kind of, made men a lot weaker, and kind of these characteristics of weak men that we need to try and improve on. Now, this video would be amazing for me maybe even 2 years ago, and I'm talking to you guys that are kind of suffering with some issues, finding that you don't know what you're doing in life, finding that you're having some problems. So kind of the main thing that we're going to break down is just how we can kind of identify these characteristics and what we can do to make it better. So kind of the first point I really want to hit home, and this is an important one, is identity. Are you a consumer or are you a builder? That's a major important thing here. So when people are consumers, a lot of their identity is tied into, I watched this anime show, I'm a big anime fan. I'm a big sports teams fan of, the Toronto Maple Leafs, whatever it may be. It's these things that are that's not an identity. These things are not identities. These are just, you are consuming things. And if the best thing that you could come up with is I'm a big anime fan and I'm this and I'm that and I like to go to the clubs. These are just consumptions. These aren't an actual identity. Like, this is just like you have a lack of identity, and all you're just trying to tie your identity to is your kind of these weird pastimes, or not even really pastimes. So kind of the thing is here is that you have the consumer side of things where it's very passive. You're very concerned with like these passive things that really don't add anything to your life other than just kind of waste time. And the thing is that you need to actually have these active pastimes, these active things that you're doing in order to actually develop an identity. This is where a builder mindset comes in. So a builder mindset kind of is more arranged around the fact that, you're trying to achieve a goal. For example, identity tied towards, I'm a power lifter, for example. I wonder why I use that example. But for example, being a power lifter, you're building towards something. You're building towards trying to do well in the competition. You know what I mean? And you can set goals for this. And this is something that requires effort to get better in. And as well with things like powerlifting, just using this as an example, but you're going to have ups and downs. You're going to get injured. You're going to maybe not place well. You're going to have to learn how to do a water cut if you want to place in compete in a lighter weight class. So there's these things that are actually more of a builder mindset and are actually going to build you up more. And that's the big thing, is don't tie your identity to this consuming stuff. This is not good. This is not good, because you're just going to be passively doing bullshit, really. Be in the builder mindset to allow yourself to build resilience, to get better, and to not just passively consume garbage. It's okay to enjoy things. I'm not saying don't enjoy things, don't watch TV shows or whatever, but like, if your identity is only based off consumption, you got a problem, and you can fix that. So even small things like deleting Instagram is really good. Not consuming and doom scrolling social media constantly. That's very important. Starting a social media page, example. So you have the flip side, which is like you're just doom scrolling, versus you can actually create content and you can actually try to give something to people. Now we'll go into the next point here, is reactivity. Okay. So kind of, are you very reactive? This is a big thing with men, and I find it today is they're very, very reactive, and they get very emotional once there's either kind of some type of discomfort or there's some type of adversity. So I want you guys to understand too that peace does not equal comfort. Okay, so being at peace isn't just, it's easy to be a Buddhist monk and you're meditating at the top of the mountain and you're doing nothing, right? Because you're not really, you're not dealing with too many adversities, really. Everything's just very calm, neutral, whatever, right? You're basically like a boat that's tied to the dock. So essentially what I mean by that, the boat's tied to the dock. Yeah, you can be peaceful and everything, and yeah, you can, be at the dock and you're tied and you're secured, but you're not doing what you're built for, going out to sea and actually going through these hard waves and going through these, I wouldn't say tsunamis, but going through, these rough waters and things like that. That's what a boat's built for. And that's what a man's built for. A man's built for going through these adverse conditions and going through these hard things in life. So that's a big thing, is don't be so emotionally reactive. And I've had issues with this as well. Things have happened, and then, you go into this thing of like self-pity, or you either kind of go into self-pity or you go into despair. they kind of are both related, but the self-pity kind of, I'm feeling sorry for myself. Oh, how could this happen to me? Or the despair on the other side is, oh, I'm a loser. I can't do anything. I'm this, I'm that. And you kind of put a lot of blame. It is good to put blame on yourself, but it's not healthy. And then kind of tying into the reactivity is when you do face that adversity, you're going, this is happening to me, right? Oh my goodness, how could this happen? All these things are so bad. This is terrible versus how do I respond to this? Right? Because when you have this, oh, I can't do anything, this is happening to me, this is a weird victim mindset, because it's like this weird cycle of people enjoy rheumatizing on things, and they enjoy kind of, oh, I'm powerless and I can't do this, because it allows people to like dismiss the fact they can do something about it. And they rather just kind of lie down and just do nothing and take it. And that's easy, right? Because that doesn't really require a lot of effort. To self-pity and just to wallow doesn't really require a lot of effort, and it's kind of an easy way out versus, okay, this happened, how do I respond? And this is very important, because when you actually have this mindset, you're putting power into yourself. You're saying, yeah, these things were shitty, this wasn't a nice thing that happened, but I need to be able to respond, and I can respond to this to make the situation better, right? That's a big thing. It's just, you need to give yourself that power, right? You need to give yourself that power to, how can I respond? How can I make the situation better? And we have narcissism. So this is a big weakness of them. This is why men are very weak now. And kind of, it's funny because I was a really big Andrew Tate guy. And even then, there are some takeaways from Andrew Tate that could be that are good. For example, working hard, trying to be financially free, providing for your family, providing for your wife. These are very good aspects, but also the problem with him is that it's all tied into narcissism. A lot of the time it is tied into narcissism. Look at how fast I can drive this car. Look at this nice Ferrari. Look at my watch. Look at this. And these things aren't really inherently bad. It's a lot of the times it's a bit of a cope that people like to do as well as, oh my God, money doesn't buy happiness and money's terrible, all this. No, money's not bad. Money's pretty indicative of hard work most of the time, unless you've inherited it. Money's actually a good thing because it indicates hard work. But the thing is, it's the love of money. It's, I will do anything to get this money, and money's my God. Money's the most important thing to me. And tying it back here is that what you have, it's all about what you have, right? So because we're on social media all the time, everyone's like, what do I have? How can I flex on this person? How can I whatever? It's trying to show I'm better than you. I'm cooler than you. I have to prove that I'm better. All these things. Look at my watch, right? Versus it's cool to have that stuff, but that is not, like, that's not on the hierarchy of the top things you need. What's more important is what you give. What you have, right, is not as important as what you give. What you give is way more important than what you have. And that's because the whole thing is, it ties back to the narcissism. What you have, you're not helping anybody by what you have, really. By having these materialistic things, I'm talking purely about materialistic stuff, it doesn't really, most of the time, I know a lot of people try to spin this in some way, but it's not really going to benefit people, right? Versus what you give, I can benefit a lot more people with that, right? So if you can give knowledge to people, for example, if you're like a personal trainer, you can give people knowledge of how to get stronger. If you're a physiotherapist, you can give knowledge to people about how to rehabilitate themselves. And these are things that you're benefiting people's lives, you're making them better. And if you can actually do this in a way that you can give what you give, and you're helping people, and you can actually make money from that, that's a beautiful thing. That's a very beautiful thing, and that's an amazing thing. But once again, it's about what you give. It's not always about look at me, look at me. It's more about how can I help people. All right, the last component we have here, blame. Okay, so this kind of ties into the reactivity, but blame. Are you going to be passive? Are you going to put the blame on other people? I didn't pass this course because it was this teacher. I didn't get that squat attempt in my powerlifting meet because the lighting was all messed up, or my nutrition was messed up, or my coach did this. Or like, for example, she broke up with me because she was a bitch and she was a total asshole. She was a narcissist. These are just putting the blame on other people versus understanding, okay, look, this happened. Once again, this happened. How do I respond? Right? So it ties back into that. So being very passive, once again, it just allows yourself to feel like when you're passive like that, it just says, well, you know what? I don't really care, and it's not my fault. I don't have to try anything else. And it's a laziness thing, and it's an effort thing. Because when you're passive, you just don't have to put any effort, and you just hope for the best. Versus a failing forward kind of mindset. At the end of the day, even if you do fail at something, you know what I mean? If you, like, so let's say, for example, like, okay, you want to do I'm going to use powerlifting as an example throughout the whole video, but if you want to do a powerlifting competition, right? So what you're going to do, you want to get stronger, do the powerlifting competition. Let's say you go into the powerlifting competition and you bomb out. Bombing out means you miss all the attempts. You don't get any of them right. At the end of the day, you failed forward. Even if you bomb out in the meet and you failed everything, you failed forward because you've gained experience, you've gotten stronger most likely, and all these things have happened. Even if you get injured or something like that, you'll learn from that injury and how to get better from that. So this kind of versus being very passive and just not doing anything versus fail, because we're really afraid of failure. Even if you fail, you will get better. Like, even if you failed, you will get better and you'll fail forward. And this is a common thing with entrepreneurs, is like they'll have 3 or 4 businesses, and then by the time they get to the 5th business, they've developed a really good business. They're successful now, and all these good things are coming to them. Versus kind of, when they had the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th business, even though they were failing businesses, they still learned so much from failing in those businesses that if they didn't have that failing forward mindset, they wouldn't have gotten to that 5th business. And if they stayed passive, they would have never got there. They wouldn't have got to that 5th business and essentially would have improved everything, learned from those past mistakes and improved their life and improved their finances, all that stuff. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Make sure to leave some comments, like the video. Appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your day.